A veteran of Merce Cunningham and the Alvin Ailey dances, American Dance Theater, choreographer Ulysses Dove's powerful and passionate works can be seen in repertoires of American ballet theater and dance companies throughout the United States and Europe. He's just returned from Sweden and Holland, where he has been commissioned to create his latest works, and we're pleased to have him here. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is old news, but just help me understand this. The transition from Merce Cunningham to Alvin Ailey, characterize what that is for you. I mean, because one seemed to me to be a release of emotional elements of your dance, whereas the other was something else, more precision, more... What?
Yeah. Well, for me, when I just left university when I came to New York, and I was in New York exactly 2 weeks before I was in the Merce Cunningham Company. Yeah. But Merce taught me everything. You know, it was sort of for me the culmination of all my training. It was this, you know, he taught me about space and time and just various other things that I really thought I knew about, but I really didn't. You know, he taught me, you know, we'd watch this man come out of a room every day and suddenly produce literally new movement for 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and a head, and suddenly there would be a movement that I literally had never seen before. You know, so I was absolutely captivated by the brilliance of this man. And it's also, it was totally contrary to my nature, because I'm a very passionate person by nature. But sort of, as we were just saying, sometimes it's good to put yourself under the absolute opposite directive in that all of a sudden I couldn't get by on passion. I had to get by on strictly technique. It was leotards and tights, feet, legs, arms, knees. But after 3 years with Merce, suddenly I felt I was like at a crossroad where either I had to become a Cunningham dancer for the rest of my life, which was not distasteful to me, nothing wrong with that. But I found that there was still something that I was looking for, and I didn't know quite where to find it. And I thought maybe somebody out there was doing it. And if I could just find that person, then it would alleviate the necessity for me to do it myself. And so when the Alvin Ailey Company came, I thought, well, after working with one person so intensely as I'd worked with Merce, that now the idea of seeing what everybody thought about dance, what each individual person like to experience as many versions of what dance is as possible, and that's what I got in the Ailey Company. I got to work with John Butler, Louis Falco, Jennifer Muller, on and on. And well, after 7 years of that, I discovered that still nobody was doing what I thought dance was inside.
Yeah. Ailey urged you, encouraged you, got you to start choreographing?
Well, I have a degree in dance, so I've done it before. But what happened was I got injured. My back was injured, and the company went on a tour to South America. And so there was no provisions made for me, and I was sort of sitting in a chair watching the company go away, and I thought, well, what on earth will I do? And then in my mind I said, well, if they go away and leave me here, then when they come back, I'll be in a different company. Yeah. And just before they left, Alvin said to me, you know, I know you've always wanted to choreograph, and the director of the second company was going to South America with them. So he said, well, why don't you take the second company, make a piece for them while we're gone, teach them, and so it's basically like having my own company right away. And when they came back, we had done a piece. And from there, it got fairly good reviews, and Alvin asked me to do another piece. My second piece, he asked me for a full company closer. I thought, oh no, not for my second piece.
Did you ever know this would be the direction? I mean, was this always a direction you thought that maybe I'll dance for a while, and then at some point?
No, that's the last thing I wanted to do.
You only wanted to be a dancer.
That's all. Well, it was my first thing I wanted to do. I wanted to be in a professional company, and I wanted to be in any company that I wanted to be considered a really good dancer. But in my studies, I always had good marks on choreography, and everybody said you should do that, but I just wasn't interested because I wanted to dance first. I wanted to be in a professional company, and I wanted to be a principal dancer in that professional company.
What's the joy of dancing? I mean,
it's like driving a bus. Do you know what I mean? You have all these lives in your hands, and you're the director. You're the person who, it's like being a storyteller in an ancient society. You tell the story, and you can literally make magic, and you can take people on a journey like a roller coaster ride, and then deliver them safely back in their seats and let them go home with an experience that they actually have not had, but they feel that they've had because they've experienced it through you. It's there's really almost no experience like it except being a choreographer, where you can decide what that roller coaster ride is going to be.
And when you're a choreographer and you create a dance and create a piece, explain the process to me.
Well, you know, it varies every time.
But what's the motivation? What's the inspiration to what's the first thought? If you look back over a piece,
it varies every time. It literally does. Like the piece that you just saw, Episodes. It started literally with a vision of lighting on the floor. I saw a diagonal going this way. I saw a diagonal going that way, and I saw an X, and that was the beginning of it. And I thought, you know, what actually does a diagonal mean? It means direction. It means that you're going somewhere. It points in a very clear direction. There's no ambiguity. You don't go right or left. You go forward or backwards. Mm. And I saw that started, and then the X. So suddenly there is direction. There's choice. Right. There's direction, but there's also choice. And from there it was like the skeleton of something that suddenly fleshed itself out.
And what effect does the music have?
Well, it depends, because sometimes the music is composed for the piece. Right. So the way I tend to function is there's a central idea. There has to be a central concept for me. Otherwise, I can't get going, because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. You know, if you don't know you're trying to get from here to Macy's, you can't tell whether you're going the right direction or not.
That's right.
So unless I know what exactly I'm trying to do, I can't tell how well I'm doing it. And so what I try to do is give that concept to the lighting designer who turns it into lights, to the composer who turns it into music, to the set designer who turns it into sets, to the dancers who turn it into a performance, and to me, who as a choreographer, not as the central idea holder, but as a choreographer, I turn it into movement. And hopefully we're all doing exactly the same thing, and so it comes out to be what I call total theater, so that we're not all just choosing a disparate piece of music and all these things just happen at the same time.
Do you want your own company?
You know, that's if you'd asked me like even a month ago, I'd probably say absolutely not.
No.
But at the same time, what I've always thought to myself was that it's something I always could have had, but I thought I want one day for the work to demand a company. I don't want just to have a company because I want one as a whim, but I want the work to demand a company. And now that I'm 13 years from the beginning, every time I go into a group of strangers to try to teach them a piece, I have 13 years of lesson 101 to give them in order for them to catch up to where I am. Yeah. And it's very difficult to, and as the work goes on, you become more and more intimate.
Yeah, but if you've got to spend your time of pouring that 13 years of experience with this group of dancers, are you saying that if you had a company, you could spend your time, you could lessen that down to one time, and therefore you'd have more time to experiment in a whole lot of other different ways?
On and on and on.
So that's the argument for having a company.
Oh, absolutely. You know, but that's when the work needs a company, because when it's taken me that long to feel that working several times with the same people is much more rewarding for me than working with new people.
Whose career would you like to have had? I mean, you're still in the midst of yours, and when you look around, is anybody who you could point to and say?
No, there's nobody who's
because
done
an artist have to define his own career or her own career.
Well, I just haven't seen anybody who's done what I see in my head.
What do you see in your head?
That's what I'm spending all these years trying to make exist. But I see a kind of dance that moves people. I believe that art, and I have to be careful with the word that I use here. Art is something that connects us all, but not at the lowest common denominator, but at the highest common denominator. There's something in art that we all share, and when it's actually happening, we can all differ on what we think dance is, but when it's actually happening, we all agree that it's happening. Yeah. We all agree that this is a moment here, you know what I mean? And when that moment happens, that magic, when we're transported from whatever, you know, someone who types all day on a machine, or someone who runs a crane, or someone who runs a computer, or someone who runs Wall Street. They're all connected by the recognition of something that is so magic, that is so transcendent of daily life, and yet is daily life at the same time, that it's suddenly art. You know, and that's what I'm after. That experience that runs the entire gamut from every experience that you can imagine in one single instant.
Have you had, I mean, if you looked back on all that you've done so far, when was the best moment?
I think the best moment is coming. I always said to people, I hope that every time I do a work, the most interesting work that I do, the most awaited work that I do will be the one that I'm in the process of doing.
Yeah. What's next for you?
Well, at the moment, I'm in the middle of creating a new piece for the Royal Swedish Ballet, which is called Dancing on the Front Porch.
I'm out of time, but is it different creating for, they just waved me. Is it different creating for a European audience and company?
It is slightly, because they have such a long tradition in dance. You know, I mean, it's so exciting to see people who want to see classical dance go yet that step higher, that step further, that step different, that step deeper, that step longer, that step.
You get
further.
home to South Carolina much?
As often as I can.
Great to see you.
Same to you.
Thank you. Ulysses Dove. We thank you for joining us tonight with Sidney Lumet and Sally Quinn and Ulysses Dove. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Paul Simon.